Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? It's THEMOSHOW Chicago, and we are back again with another episode of We Got That Smoke with the brother minister Louis Farrakhan. For all of you black men, black women that's out there, make sure you listen to this video and digest what the brother is saying. We're gonna jump right in this piece. Enjoy.
Affairs in the person of Master W. Farad Muhammad, the great Mahdi from the East, who came among us and raised from among us a divine leader, teacher, and guide for us in the person of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I greet all of you, my dear and wonderful brothers and sisters, with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. But it means in English, peace be unto you. To our dear pastor, the Reverend Aaron Dobines, without whose courage and strength we would not have a place to meet this afternoon. And to our dear sister, Sister Rose Sanders, her husband, and the president of SCLC here in the local chapter, Mr. Mitchell, I believe. I cannot thank God enough for the privilege of being here with you in this historic city of Selma. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I feel privileged because I'm walking in the footsteps of tremendous history. Although I am maligned and evil spoken of, Dr. King, before he came here, was maligned and evil spoken of. And the same media that has depicted me as someone unworthy to be in your company also depicted Dr. King the same. Many pastors at that time did not want Dr. King in their churches because they saw him as a troublemaker, as one who came to stir up the plantation, that those on the plantation might go free. I'm honored beyond words to be in this sacred place. Not just this holy house, but a sacred place. Selma, Alabama, where so many good people lost their lives. So many good people were maimed and wounded. So many scarred for life, that we might have a right to vote. But we have not used that vote as wisely as we should have. And in some respects, we have betrayed those who died for us. Because we went to sleep thinking that the strife was o'er, the battle done, the victory of life was won, only to turn around and find that 30 years later, the same man who was mayor then is mayor now. We know that all human beings can be redeemed. And we believe in redemption. But things are still the same. You have the right to vote. You have wonderful politicians. You have people that are serving in many different capacities. But if you look at the condition of the masses of our people, it remains the same. So we did not get the right to vote, and Mother Cooper did not knock down the sheriff for us to be knocked down by machinations and schemes that rob us of the freedom that they suffered to try to give us. I'm not here in Selma to create any problem. The problem is already here. Some of these that have opposed my presence, what are their works? We've read their words in the paper, but what are their works? On my way to this beloved and sacred place, I saw a sign, "This way to racial harmony," as though racial harmony was on the bridge. Racial harmony is not on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Racial harmony can only come when there's racial justice. Farrakhan did not come to disrupt what doesn't exist. People are not foolish. We don't need magic. We need truth. We don't need magic. We don't need deception. We need truth. Those of you in power, you know that you're deceiving black people. You know you're making them to believe that something exists that you know does not exist. So the real liars, the real deceivers, the real game players, see, that's who are afraid of my coming, because the truth in my mouth exposes their lies, their deceit, their chicanery. While I was walking through the museum of voting and civil rights, it took every bit of strength to keep the tears from falling from my eyes, to think of how my brothers and sisters have suffered to vote for the same people that put them in this condition. How my people have suffered to be turned into apologists for their former slave masters and their children. How my people have suffered for a vote to put some of you in office and then you sell them out. In the museum reminiscing over Dr. Martin Luther King and the Reverend James Luther Bevel and all of those who came to Selma, Kwame Ture, others who came not to be seen on television but to rectify a gross wrong, a gross injustice. And the media would act as though all injustice has been corrected. All suffering has ended. All racism has ended. And then have the nerve to call me a notorious bigot while the bigotry, the racism, and the hatred still exists in Selma, Alabama, 30 years after Dr. Martin Luther King.
don't know what to read, you can start here.
I'm not here to stir up hatred. But if you had not been unjust to black people, there would be no hatred for nobody to stir up. Love and justice does not produce hatred, but it is evil and injustice that has produced hatred if hatred exists. While I was in the museum, His Honor, the mayor, Mr. Smitherman, came to see if the people of his plantation are still all right. He came by and they tell me, I didn't hear him say it, but I heard that he said they're going to investigate Mr. Sanders and a grant that he received to see if he used any of that grant money to bring this hater and this bigot to Selma. I wish he was here so I could tell him to his teeth. Senator Sanders did not offer me one dime, nor did I ask for one dime to come to Selma. I paid my way every mile of the journey. And the love offering that you gave, thinking that you gave to me, I put $100 in that bucket, and I'm giving every dime right back to Selma, that Selma may improve her own condition. So, Mayor, you can go back to doing something better with your time. I came here to Selma to talk to you. Because your biggest enemy is not the white man. Your biggest enemy is your fear of the white man. Your biggest enemy is not the white man. Your biggest enemy is your ignorance of the white man. Your number one enemy. How dare you say you are a Christian and that you know Jesus Christ and are walking in fear of the very shadow of your enemy? The scripture said perfect love casteth out fear, and that is your problem. You don't love God enough. You don't love yourself enough. You don't love one another enough. Talk that foolishness to the ignorant. See, you cannot bring that to me because I know you. I know your father. I know how you came into existence. And I almost know how long you got if you don't change. They say no man knows the hour but the Father. But they were asking Jesus, when is the hour? And Jesus said, this wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign. But no sign shall be given to you except the sign of Jonah. As Jonah was in the belly of the whale 3 days and 3 nights, so shall the Son of Man be in the heart of the earth. I didn't come to Selma to stir up any trouble. Selma is already in trouble. I didn't come to Alabama to stir up any trouble. But Alabama is already in trouble. I wasn't born in America to stir up trouble. But America is in deep trouble. What trouble is America in? What trouble are you in? Because you're in trouble. God said there would be a time of trouble like there never was since there was a time in a nation. But Michael will stand up in that hour of trouble. You're in serious trouble, black folk, not only in Selma, but all over America and all over the world, because the world is in trouble. We have reached the end of this world's order. You can't buy into this world and buy into the kingdom of God at the same time. You can't be mayor, young brother, like the other man. You can't be a judge like the other judges. You can't serve like the people that served before you. If Christ is not in you, if you will not serve from the perspective of God, then you need to sit down, because everything that is not of God will be set down. Everything. You hypocritical preachers. About a God who has power over everything, and then bow down to the mayor as though the mayor is God and the police chief is God. I'm a Farrakhan. Don't be too hard. You're in Selma. You act as though God is not God in Selma as he is in Mississippi or Georgia or anywhere else on this earth. Be God in Selma when you stand up in faith and stand on the word of God and resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Dear beloved pastors, you got to render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. There's nothing wrong with paying respect to the mayor or the police chief or those in authority because you voted them in. But it's wrong to give your allegiance where you become a little puppet and a plaything. Your allegiance should be to God. And that's why the scripture said, love God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. Well, if I give all my heart, soul, and mind to God, what is there left? All is allegiance. My allegiance can never be to a flag. My allegiance has to be to God and what God stands for. I'm not anti democracy that's carried on by America. I respect the flag, but I can only give my allegiance to God. God has never wronged me. Those who represent the flag have wronged us all. God has never enslaved me. But God knows that those who represent the flag represent the torture and the hurt and the pain of millions of my brothers and sisters here and throughout the world. How can I serve God and mammon too? You scared to death people. I warn you in the name of God that the fearful and the unbelieving will have their part in the lake that burns with fire. Either you're going to be men and women or you're going to die as a coward, leaving the legacy of your cowardice to your children. Your children will hate your shadow. They will never hate the shadow of Mother Cooper. They will honor her when she's gone. They will honor that strike that she made. What kind of parent are you? Cowering down and cowering before the enemy. While your children are standing there, they will take their lead from you. You've sold your birthright for a mess of porridge. What have you got? You've got nothing. A few little token positions that allow some token Negroes to ride around in their token automobiles, living in a token neighborhood, acting like in Selma. You need preachers who love God enough to stand up on the gospel and preach it without fear. We need Muslims that will stand on the Quran. Prophet Muhammad, if he stood here today, he would stand with me and not against me. Room, he would hug and kiss me. He would never stand against me for standing up for truth and righteousness and justice for the people. What trouble are you in? What trouble is America in? Whenever a nation's evil outweighs its good, God sends down a decree of death. I want you to hear me. I said whenever a nation's evil outweighs its good, the God of heaven sends down a decree of death on that nation, on that people, on that society. But he always sends somebody, giving the people a window of opportunity to repent and atone and bow down before he kills them all. You have not justified your existence on God's earth. He didn't raise you up to be this kind of human being. Don't get angry with me. Just listen. talk about you know some good white people. Now I want you to listen. What is the standard by which you measure good? By your ignorance? The standard of good to measure me, to measure you, to measure the mayor, to measure the president is written in your Bible. Across the street, that's good. It's all right to be kind to your neighbor, that's good. It's all right to give good counsel to your children, that's good. That's not the good that God judges a nation. Please hear me. One man came to Jesus. Jesus was telling him how that the nations would be separated and divided. Don't call me the separator. Jesus Christ himself is the separator. He said he would separate the sheep from the goat, and the wheat from the tare, and the righteous from the wicked. Don't put that on me. He said, I come not to bring peace, nay, a sword. Did he say it or did he not? Oh, let me hear something. You don't have to get quiet. I'm the one talking. Said, I come not to bring peace, nay, a sword. I come to set the mother-in-law at variance with the daughter-in-law, the son-in-law at variance with the father-in-law. They of a man's own household will be his worst enemy. Why are you separating like that, Jesus? That's a good question. Talk to us. The disciples said, Master, when were you hungry? And I fed you not. When were you naked and I clothed you not? When were you out of doors and I gave you not shelter? When were you sick and imprisoned and I ministered not unto you? And Jesus said, inasmuch as you have not done these things unto the least of these, my brethren, you have not done it also unto me. And that was the prerequisite. That was the criterion by which God would judge nations. Look at the homeless, laying under bridges and in cardboard boxes. Look at the hungry, who go to bed hungry at night in the richest country on earth, while the greedy merchants throw food in the ocean to keep the prices up while people are dying of hunger. Look at the naked. Look at the sick, who can't even find a doctor if they don't have money. Look at the lockdown. 1,600,000 in prison. In the greatest nation on earth, she has the most prisoners of any country on the earth. Why is that? Come on, minister, come on, minister. A nation that gives her people the greatest opportunity of any nation on earth. But she's the biggest consumer of alcohol and drugs of any nation on earth. Why is that? A nation that has the best the best road system, the best transportation system, the best governmental system. This nation, above all the nations of the earth, has the best almost of everything. But she leads the world in crime and violence and murder and mayhem and debauchery and sin. Why, God, would you send down a decree of death on the United States of America? You better listen, because after I finish and leave, God is going to answer every word that I say here in Selma and in Alabama. Watch the weather and see. He's sick of you and your foolishness. And he's sure sick of the government and white folk and yourself. Applause for your hypocrisy, talking about how things have gotten better. Patting yourself on the cheek like you did something. What did you do? Black folk had to die to go to toilet with you. Black folk had to die to drink a cup of water out of a fountain. Black folk had to die to vote for the mess that they voted into office. What did you do? What did you do? You hate my people. You smile. Your fathers were more honest. Here's O.J. Simpson. He's innocent in a court of law for murder, but he's responsible. I really don't understand that. How could a man be innocent of murder yet responsible? And they put him on the stand and asked him, did you hit her? He said, well, I'm responsible. He couldn't say yes. He didn't want to say yes. He knew he hit the girl. He knew he beat the girl. Tell the truth. But beating his wife don't mean he killed her. But I am satisfied. Go ahead. That no man can kill another human being and get away with it with man's law and find refuge in God. Come on, minister. Your fathers killed us. Come on, minister. And juries let them go and called it justifiable. But God said you gotta answer for what your fathers did. Yes, sir. You're not to blame, but you're responsible. There's no white person in this audience that had a hand in our enslavement. They're innocent. No, this generation did not do that. But they're responsible for keeping you in the miserable condition that slavery put you in. So how are you the sons and daughters any better than your fathers? Go ahead. A decree of death has been sent down on America by God. The same plagues that he put on Pharaoh are now inside America. The Federal Emergency Management Act, which was set up by Congress, a fund to help pay the tremendous cost of calamities. Every year they got to keep going back to Congress for more money because the calamities are happening so fast, one right behind another, that the funds are being depleted. Well, who controls that? I don't make rain. I don't make snow. White folk don't eat. You could arrest me, but why don't you arrest God for sending tornadoes and wind and storms and flood and hailstones? Why don't you arrest God for sending pestilence, and soon famine will come? You will see. The Bible says you will look at your little fat babies with the thought in mind of eating your own children. These are the days coming in the next few years on your beloved America, because God is angry with America and he's angry with you.
Thanks for viewing, you all, and on your way out, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and the word all to ensure that you will get notifications when I upload videos on YOUTUBE. Also, press those condiments, the like and the share. Share the information with relatives, friends, co-workers, anyone that you come into contact with. It is a magnificent way to jumpstart your conversation. Peace out and never give up on your DREAMS.